After
Next
Ubisoft,
show.
after that long day, it was Sony at late at night,
Okay,
9
let's
o'clock
please
Eastern
speed
time.
through the Sony show. Oh, okay, let's see. Stupid reader thing. Nobody cares about it. What was it called? It was called Storybook.
Wonderbook.
Oh,
They spent
boy. 20
like
minutes?
15 to 20 minutes
I think it was 20
demoing.
minutes. Anyways,
this-
it was retarded.
It was basically an AR picture book for kids, and they spent 20 minutes on it.
They didn't have any. They did not demonstrate any of their. They didn't demonstrate freaking Last Guardian. I don't think Sorcery was at the show either.
They confirmed
remember the
Sorcery's
PS3?
out. Sorcery's out.
It's canceled?
No, it's out. Like it's been released.
What?
Yep.
I'm gonna look this up.
It was released in like a couple weeks ago. I'm pretty sure.
I don't believe it.
You do believe it because I'm telling you right now.
Oh crap! You're right.
When was it released? What was the date?
In North America, May 22nd, and
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of reviews for it though.
Couple
So it
weeks
was released.
It was like 7 average, I think. So.
All right. Well, anyways, so pretty disappointing show. The Last of Us did show up.
As far as the Last Guardian, they did confirm that was still in development.
Well, yeah, it's still in
at the
development, but it should have been at the
Yeah,
show.
but
It's
a
been
lot
going on way too long.
A lot of people think that's vaporware now. They thought it was vaporware.
No,
'cause
it's
they
going to
haven't
come
shown.
out. I mean,
Yeah.
the original Ico was vaporware, quote unquote, but
that came out early though. Was that
no,
like
because it was also
title?
a PS1. It was also a PS1 game. It started
Okay.
like on PS1.
Yeah. You're right.
So let's see. Then there was The Last of Us. Last of Us looked pretty damn good. It's Naughty
Last
Dog.
of Us
You really
was it was their last game they showed off at the conference, but it doesn't matter. We don't need to go in order for this shit. But The Last of Us looks awesome. I think it looks like
excellent. It's Naughty Dog too. So
it almost looks old school. Like they got not a lot of bullets. You're just
it's looking good.
It seems like a cool. It's like a post-apocalyptic game with colors. You don't see that a lot.
It's actually a little bit like Metro 2033 in my opinion in terms of the little low bullet count and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit survival horror elements, but a little more action
oriented.
I think that's a clever gameplay mechanic though to combine the two, action oriented with survival horror.
Yeah.
It really makes for a tense, like in Metro 2033, which is the only game I've really played like that. It makes for a very tense scenario when you have a lot of people around, a lot of enemies you need to take out, and very little ammunition. Versus a survival horror game like Resident Evil, where you have very little ammunition, but also only a few enemies.
Yep. I thought it was kind of interesting how you're fighting against humans, but there's also, as we've seen in like previous trailers,
there's some
also like
generic
creatures or zombies or something. So it's obvious that like.
And then
everyone's trying to survive.
I guess the crown jewel of Sony's show was, of course. Before we get to that, let's talk about Battle Royale for a little while. Their little Smash Brothers clone.
Yep.
It looks all right. It's not. I mean, it looks like Smash Brothers.
All right. So we were talking about PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. Feed cut off for a second there. Sorry about that.
Yes, it did.
Basically, I was talking about how I was telling Spencer I don't like the way you kill your opponent, how the mechanic works to kill your opponent, because you have to have a super to kill your opponent, and the way you build that up is by fighting the other characters, and I just think you should be able to kill your opponents by basic attacks, not having to use supers and everything. But I think it looks like a okay substitute for Smash Brothers. It should be fun. I think the character roster looks cool. The environments look cool. So I think it could end up being a pretty cool game.
I would agree. I think that the knockout mechanic sounds pretty lame. But, I mean, it's a party fighting game. It's, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's trying to do something a little bit different. It's not just copying directly from Smash Brothers. So I guess that's a good thing. It looks cool, and they announced PS Vita cross-platform play, which was one of the very few Vita games they had at their conference, and that they even showed.
Well, I think they announced that Assassin's Creed bundle or something.
They had Assassin's Creed, and then they also announced they re-announced Call of Duty Declassified, and they didn't show anything of that game. I think that game could possibly garner some sales, but it's just Vita's just dead almost. It's doing just plain awful. It's the Wii's almost outselling it in Japan right now. That's not a good sign.
No, Vita. You and I talked about this a lot before Vita came out, and I was just astonished how many people were excited about Vita because it was pretty much destined for failure because it utilizes the same strategy that
PSP did.
That PSP did, and the problem is that I mean, I remember towards the end of PSP, I was a PSP owner. Almost every gamer I knew was a PSP owner at some point, and none of them were happy with the PSP. So why? I mean,
the PSP ended up being a pretty good system. There's some great games on it.
To be fair, PSP did end up being a good system, and I actually think I think that you could. I wouldn't be surprised if I met somebody who preferred PSP over DS.
No, that's definitely. If you're an RPG fan,
PSP was better.
PSP is probably better. Yeah, as far as
if you're a fan of a few genres, it had a better fighting game selection.
Yeah, definitely.
Had better shmup selection. Had a better.
I don't know anything about the shmups, so
it had better RPG selection. Probably a better racing game selection too, given if you want,
the DS racers blow.
Yeah, there's Mario Kart, and that's really all that's worth mentioning on the DS.
Yeah, I mean, I had Need for Speed Underground 2 on the DS. Obviously, that was when I was younger, and I didn't know better.
PSP had some excellent racing titles. It had Gran Turismo.
Even Ridge Racer, the launch title.
Ridge Racer had Wipeout, a couple of Wipeout games that were very good.
The Outrun game.
Had Outrun 2, a port, which, by the way, it was a very, very good port of the Xbox game. Very good port. Excellent title. And a number of other good racers I'm sure we're forgetting to mention. But I'm
guessing that's why some PSP fans were excited for Vita. I mean, the launch lineup
the problem was that even those people should have had enough, common sense to realize, geez, this is the same strategy they used for PSP, which is a system that sales have been pretty much a disaster for a couple of years now anywhere outside of Japan. And, I mean, it doesn't look good. You're talking about the Japanese have been using handhelds as a safe haven due to a lower development cost. And so you come out with a handheld that's hardware is above the Wii, which isn't exactly the hardest thing to do, but it's nearly. I mean, you're talking about cross-platform play when it's in the neighborhood.
I mean,
in the neighborhood of the PS3.
Almost all the games that have been announced after launch for PS Vita from Sony themselves has been a game that you can also get on the PS3, like Sly Cooper, even something like Sound Shapes, which was one of the most critically acclaimed titles at last year's E3 as far as PS Vita exclusives go. That is now coming to PS3 as a downloadable title, so they really have nothing for that right now. And even to be fair, the launch lineup was pretty fantastic, I thought. I mean, you had Lumines, you had an Uncharted
this goes
game.
back to the market changing with what we were talking about. Is I honestly believe that there isn't room anymore for 2 dedicated handhelds. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The iOS and just mobile devices are taken away from that market. I mean, the 3DS is doing pretty good, but
I don't think it's going to do DS numbers. I think it's going to fit. I think 3DS will be successful. I think it's going to fizz out long before it gets anywhere near the DS.
And
numbers.
that's after a price drop too.
Yeah, and it's after a price drop, and it's after a strong concentration of a lot of AAA heavy hitters.
Yeah, Mario Kart.
What else? Zelda. What else is there?
There's like Resident Evil came out on it.
Resident Evil, Kid Icarus,
Star Fox 64 came out on it.
Star Fox 64, Super Street Fighter 4 at launch, stuff like that. Not that it was selling a lot at launch, but
I mean, even stuff like Dead or Alive,
Dimensions.
Yeah.
Shinobi, the best-selling game on the system. Go Sega.
Cave Story 3D.
Cave Story 3D, yeah.
I mean, there's good titles for the 3DS and good ones coming.
There's good ones coming for the 3DS, but I mean, even when you look at the release schedule, we'll talk about that in a second, I guess. So let's just go ahead.
Yeah, but But yeah,
So I guess that's pretty much
what
it.
were we, what were we talking about?
Sony,
Vita?
Sony's conference. So Sony's conference Vita showing was crap.
Yeah,
Big
I was
Crown
very
Jewel,
surprised by that.
Crown. I wasn't. I knew that was going to happen. I knew.
Yeah, I thought
Vita
they were
was
going to come
be a
out.
disaster the day they announced it because they had no strategy for it. It was the exact same strategy they used for PSP, the exact same strategy they used for PS3. It had been a failure every single time. And I mean, the PSP was a success, but I mean, really, it wasn't a success. It was a success financially. In terms of mind share, I don't think it was a success. People who owned one, generally speaking, were not happy with them. And it was I mean, in terms of software, it had become an absolute disaster anywhere other than Japan, where only Monster Hunter and Phantasy Star Portable could sell. So, I mean, piracy became rampant on the console.
Oh yeah, I
in
mean,
its life cycle.
it was even towards the beginning. It's not even towards the end. It was. Yeah, I remember it was
About
like
halfway through.
a couple years in. My friends were. I don't condone it, but my friends were pirating stuff on the PSP. So
it was like watching the Dreamcast happen all over again with piracy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the DS kind of had the same thing happen too, but it had such a large install base that it didn't affect it as negatively.
Yeah, I mean,
and also, I think the demographic of the DS was a little bit younger, and those children and their parents generally aren't going to be able to know how to pirate as
exactly.
often.
But I was still surprised. I thought they were going to come out with at least a couple new titles from Sony themselves.
I literally expected zero. That's literally what I walked into that and was astonished that everybody else expected something.
Yeah, well,
I fully expected Sony to leave the Vita for dead, and I think that's exactly what we saw. I think that this is
happening.
Don't buy a Vita. Do not buy a Vita. If you have one right now, sell it. That's my advice.
Strange thing is they announced a white PS Vita along with that Assassin's Creed game, so...
Yeah, but that's pretty much what they always do. I mean, that's pretty much what any developer, hardware maker always does when they have a struggling system and they announce more colors.
Yeah, I mean, 3D.
So it's a quick way to... Yeah, 3DS. They did it with 3DS when it was struggling.
Just had a purple one come out.
Yep.
And so I guess
we'll
move away from
Sony
Vita.
show, Beyond, starring Ellen Page. Not as a joke. Literally, I'm not talking crap. It literally stars Ellen Page, who's I'm a big fanboy of. I think she's gorgeous, but
she's literally like basically acting.
Yeah, she's literally acting. It's like a digital movie. It's made by Quantic Dream, so you know all about their digital movies.
The tech is amazing.
It is amazing. So that's the crown jewel. I don't really think there's too much to say about it. I mean, it doesn't look that different from Heavy Rain.
There's
Ellen Page. I think it's kind of revolutionary to get a big actor portray a part in a video game as themselves.
I mean, we've seen it done before with
not really to
stuff
this scale. Like I mean, we've seen it. We've seen where Eddie Briggs was based off of Jack Black in Brutal Legend.
And
this is not really. This is on a different scale.
Yeah.
This is like an interactive. This is like an actual interactive movie. And I'm not
you
sure
you said it looked like almost an adventure game to you.
Yeah, it looked like I always think of Quantic Dream titles, well, Heavy Rain and this title as sort of an evolution of point-and-click adventures. They're slower paced. They don't have as much interaction as you might expect, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think I think that actually they're games that would actually be far better received on the PC platform than anywhere else, really, because the console users, the main complaints I always see about the games are, slow pace, weird movement.
It's a quick time event. It's just the whole game.
Yeah, that's what point-and-click adventures are pretty much. And I'm not knocking point-and-click. I love point-and-click adventures, so don't start with me. But like it's pretty much. I view those games as a sort of a natural evolution of 2D point-and-click adventures.
And I like Heavy Rain, so I'm pretty excited for Beyond Two Souls. Two Souls is the subtitle. But yeah, I saw like a 25-minute gameplay video. I didn't watch the whole thing, but gameplay is pretty much exactly the same as Heavy Rain. It's got just the same type of analog stick movement.
I'm not, in terms of gameplay, I don't think it's going to be revolutionary. I think that I really think
it looks exactly the same almost.
I think Quantic Dream is a little bit ahead of the curve though, and I think that people will look back if the adventure genre ever gets revived and sort of see where this was kind of taking the adventure genre. But we'll see.
Yeah, definitely excited about
that. So
next
show. Oh wait, we got to grade it.
And they did show the best demo of Assassin's Creed 3 at that show, I think, at the Sony show with the naval combat. I thought it looked really damn cool.
He thinks it looks cool. I don't care.
They showed the new God of War as well, which I don't think either of us care about that much.
But it is a big selling franchise, so good for you, Sony.
I at least it's something. It's another exclusive, you know.
It's another exclusive.
Sony showed off exclusives.
Sony showed off exclusives and one multimedia aspect of their device.
And
Microsoft showed off casual games, multimedia, and
Sony pulled off a Microsoft at the press, giving away like free PS Plus, but this is arguably, I guess it's not better than a full system, but they gave away like 15 free games.
Oh yeah, PSN Plus, actually, that was big news. Like, I'm actually a pretty big fan of the way that the PSN Plus model works versus Xbox Live. But yeah, they're giving out like 9 free games plus 3 more just in this month for PSN Plus users. So, good time to be a PSN Plus user. If you aren't one already, you should probably join if you care about that kind of thing. Or
if you want 15 free games, you know. And they're not bad titles either. They're good stuff.
No, like Saints Row 2 and
Infamous 2 was on there.
Yeah, Infamous 2, Saints Row 2, I think like one of the Little Big Planets or something. I don't know. All right, so Sony show overall, I would give it a C+, probably.
I thought it was the best of the big three.
Oh, yeah. Hands down.
Out of Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. Ah, man. I don't want to give the same grade as you.
Oh, don't be such a little bitch. He gives it a C+. Okay, who's next? Nintendo.
All right. C+. Last conference of the day, or it was actually the next day.
And we'll roll Nintendo's E3DS show and you show into the same thing.
Yeah, they had a 3DS showcase the day after their actual press conferse.
I don't know why, but they did.
Yeah, it wasn't. They did not need it.
They did not need it. It really disappointed a lot of people.
It was
because
to
they got
build
their hopes
hype.
up. Yeah, it was to build hype, and then they show up with nothing new.
In my opinion, it was Nintendo's conference to lose, and they absolutely blew it. They blew it. I mean,
yeah, because nobody else has anything at risk. Microsoft, like we say, is moving towards a different market. Sony doesn't really matter what they do because they can come out with as many exclusives as they want, and they're still not going to get enough sales figures to stop the freaking hemorrhaging cash flow at that company. But we've already know that because we've seen it with PS3. They've come out with excellent exclusive after excellent exclusive, nothing to show for it.
And Nintendo has a new console coming out.
Nintendo has a new console. They have one new console already on the market that's about a year old. They've got they've got Wii U right around the corner, and they currently have Wii. Nothing really was shown for Wii, as we already discussed. 3DS had a good showing, but nothing new. All stuff that we already knew about. No announcements. And even though the stuff looked good, it was like nothing really. I would say the biggest game that they showed off was like probably Luigi's Mansion 2.
The 3DS lineup's great. I think it looks really good, and it's all for this year, so that's cool. But I really think
like the DS pretty weak, but yeah.
It's baffling to me how Nintendo handled this conference. It's just, and this is coming.
And also, you and I discussed this earlier. What's up with I am always saying that a crash is incoming. I've been saying it for years, and whatever, broken clock will be twice. Right, once a day or every.
I don't think a crash is coming anytime soon, but
I think it is, and I think that, for example, Nintendo, who's hands down the most healthy of the video game companies, if we just look at the video game branches of Microsoft, for example.
Yeah, well, not the whole company in general.
Not the whole company, just their entertainment branch. Nintendo is unarguably the most healthy of any of the video game companies.
They had their first loss just last year.
So.
Ever.
When Nintendo is exercising the Mario franchise to the extent that they currently are, and not just spin-offs, but actual mainline Mario games, New Super Mario Brothers, and which represents the mainline 2D Marios, and then
2 coming out this year.
They have 2 coming out this year. Two read them and weep. 2 New Super Mario Brothers titles in 2012 alone.
And granted, I'm a fan of those games, but why 2?
No, it's not a question of whether or not you're a fan. It's a question of exhausting your franchise.
Yeah, just like Call of Duty.
We've had in 2010 we had Super Mario Galaxy 2. In 2009 we had New Super Mario Brothers Wii, I believe. Yep. And in 2011 we had
3D Land.
3D Land, and now we're in this year we're getting New Super Mario Bros. 2 on 3DS and New Super Mario Bros. U on Wii U as a launch title. So in the past year alone, we've had like, is it 5 mainline Mario games?
A couple years, yeah.
In the past 2 years, 3 years. The past 3 years we've had 5 mainline Mario games.
It's really crazy.
Mario, and this is, I think that's an extremely bad sign for the industry because Nintendo has always treated the Mario franchise, ever since the NES, they've always treated it very sparingly. You'd get one Mario game usually per console. That's pretty much how it worked in terms of the mainline Mario games.
Count like stuff like Yoshi's Island and stuff is.
Yeah, but like sort of spin-offy.
Yeah, I mean, like GameCube and N64, they had like one
Mario game,
mainline Mario game. Yeah,
and we had 3, and now 3DS within its first year
signs
2.
Yeah, all signs point to many more.
Yeah, and it's not something that looks like it's going to stop. So, I think it's bad. I think it's a bad sign when Nintendo's exercising Mario, and I also think it's a sign of kind of desperation on the handheld front, in my opinion, like we've already discussed with the iOS thing, because they're having to exercise their AAA franchises a lot more than they have to.
They're doing it because they know they needed something to sell. I mean, New Super Mario Brothers is a huge franchise. Let's be honest.
It is,
but
I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm saying that it's true. It reeks of desperation to me because I mean, the 3DS was doing bad, so they had to come out with some. I mean, they packed their AAAs into 1 year, which really has never really happened before when you really think about it. We had 2010 with Galaxy 2, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Epic Kirby, not Epic Kirby, Kirby Epic Yarn, and then Other M. And so that was like the most action-packed year. Was that 2010? Yeah, that was. Yeah, you're right. That was at E3 in 2010. So, I mean, but anyways, I think overall it's unhealthy. But let's talk about the content of their show. They had new console launching.
You should know this is coming from a fanboy, but
Nintendo freak here. That's literally his screen name on most gaming websites. So
yeah, I mean, I'd like to think of myself as an unbiased gamer, but I am partial to Nintendo, and I honestly thought their handling of this show was pretty atrocious.
I would say I'm an ex-Nintendo fanboy. So yeah.
Now a Sega fan. But
yeah, sure.
I'm
not sure how true it is, but yeah, sure.
They started off strong. Like I honestly thought they were gonna have a great show. After they showed off Pikmin 3, I mean, they had a really nice intro. Miyamoto coming out. It was really charming.
They did show off Pikmin 3. It had relatively lackluster graphics for what I was expecting.
I think it looks fine. It's not anywhere near.
It could easily run on a PS3 or Xbox 360.
It's not pushing the system for sure, but I think it does look nice. I like the art style.
It looks like it could run on Wii.
I don't think that's I don't think that's true. I think there's too many, like. It looks too smooth.
Dude, it looks about as good graphically as Super Mario Galaxy, I'd argue.
I don't know about that, but
except at a higher resolution.
I thought it looked cool
because it started life on Wii, so.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's obvious that
it has some texture distortion, but anyways,
it still uses the Wiimote
start to the Wii U show. Yeah, but you can use the gamepad. You don't have to use the Wii remote.
Yeah, no,
that's use the gamepad.
That's an option.
It looks like it controls better with the Wii remote. Which is another thing I'm sorry, with the Wii U there are far too many controllers. There's way too many controllers going on.
There's the Pro controller that's basically an Xbox controller.
Can't you still use the classic controller from Wii?
I guess, why not? You
can use the Wii remote, you can use the nunchuck, you can use
balance
the
board.
Pad, you can use the frickin' balance board. What else can you use? There's something else. I
think that's it.
Anyways, so then
they showed off Miiverse, which was their title, sort of online community aspect of it, which I think looks pretty cool. They showed that off during their pre-E3 show, though, so that was something they wasted time on, in my opinion, during the show. It was absolutely unnecessary to show that again.
Yeah, and then what else did they?
They did show off Mario Brothers U. Like, they started off fine, like I said.
Yeah, but
Mario
I mean, how am I supposed? Like, yeah, I mean, that's. I'm getting so
That's
tired
still
of it.
franchise fatigue, but it is something decent.
They're never graphically impressive. I mean, when you debut
No.
a new system, you need graphical powerhouses.
I don't even like the
I'm
next
not a
game they
graphics
showed
whore,
off.
but you need to show off. You need to spread those legs out
Mhm.
and get something out there. I mean, when Sony debuted,
Even if this is on par with like 360 and PS3, I mean,
yeah, it's there needs to be something there to show off the hardware. There should have at least been a new tech demo, at least.
and then they showed. Okay, this was extremely baffling to me. They showed off Batman.
Mm-hmm.
They spent time on stage,
And it looks worse than the 360 and PS3 versions,
according to some people. I don't know if I believe it.
Who have analyzed. I believe it. I think it's.
I'd have to see it in person and side by side, but it's just bad. Like that's an 8-month-old game, and they're showing that on stage. You could get something like Assassin's Creed, even though that's been shown a couple times already. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
And then
they
then we find out after the show that they've put Project P100, and let's not tell who this is made by quite yet.
Yep.
Project
Published by
P100.
Nintendo.
It's published by Nintendo. Big catch, real big catch. Could have lent some credence to the Wii U amongst the hardcore crowd, which is supposedly the market Nintendo's were targeting this time around, since the casuals have up and left for the most part.
Yeah.
And let's see, not up on the stage. Find out about it a little bit later. Yeah, made by Platinum Games.
Yep.
Not on the stage. Hideki Kamiya fucking directing. The dude who directed, get this,
Okami.
Beautiful Joe, Okami, and Devil May Cry. Some
And
of
the game-
largest
and the-
franchises last generation.
And the game looks freaking amazing.
And it looks freaking good, except for the graphics are pretty shit.
Well,
But I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know.
Just like I said,
it looks
way
really good. It looks
the
really
way they're
good.
handling the conference is just.
It looks as good as freaking Pikmin 3. Like I said I think it's better.
After watching a video, no, I agree. I'm more excited for that game than Pikmin 3 after watching that live demo.
To snag a game designer like Kamiya and then have him work on a project for your company. This is a company that tosses Team Ninja up on the stage, whose only good game was largely a fluke, and they'll have them work on other I don't know. Kamiya originally wanted to work on a Star Fox title, and I don't know why that wasn't given to him when he came to work with Nintendo or when they came to work with him, because
Maybe that's what Retro's working on. Who knows?
maybe that's what Retro's working on. But it seems to me that they probably had a franchise in their stable that they could have given him. Not that anything's wrong with this title, but it, as you and I have discussed, it kind of reeks of a digital distribution.
I hope it's not.
I don't think, but I mean, look at the visuals. I don't think that they can sell the visuals of that game as a title for $50.
Actually, they had a list.
I'd be kind of disgusted if they released that game at $50. To be entirely frank.
Nintendo did release a list though that was, they showed off their
titles,
launch.
and I think it it's like P100.
It was in the retail, yeah. So there was a downloadable spot for like Trine 2 and like Big Trip Runner 2. So
I still think that's kind of painful. I'll be insulted if they release that game at $50 or $60 because it's definitely low budget. It's low budget. It's a very low budget game. I'm not saying that the gameplay won't be good, but it's definitely a low budget title.
The other funny thing about this damn conference was, like, Reggie gets up on stage. He's like, "We have 23 games to show on the floor today." At the very beginning of the conference, he's like, "We're gonna cram all that in." Like half of those were in montages. Six of them were in an Ubisoft montage we'd already seen before at Ubisoft's conference. And then the other ones, they were games that you should have had on stage. There was Darksiders 3, Mass Effect 3, Tekken Tag Tournament.
Darksiders 2.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Trine 2 is in there. Aliens Colonial Marines. The game that Gearbox has been building up on Wii U. You know, they've been praising the Wii U version of that game. They don't show anything except for in a montage.
Yeah, they should have had somebody. They should have had Randy Pitchford from Gearbox come out. He
seems hugely happy with the Wii U. It's crazy. And then they show off. It's as if they have the casual market still. They show off all these games that appeal to the casual audience. We Fit You. I feel like that fad has passed now. I mean, it's
Yes, my body was ready. My body was ready.
Yeah, it's gone. And Nintendo needs to have like a meeting with Zynga if they ever intend to recapture it at all. But it's like
exactly.
it's a lost market. It's a lost cause. I mean, we saw this with Nintendogs when they trotted it out for 3DS, and we're like, yay! And then it sold way worse than it was profitable because they're low budget games, but it wasn't. I mean, if you look at the first game,
it didn't sell
sold
systems
over like 30
the first
million.
one did.
Didn't they? Like all three, the original games like sold 30 plus.
It
million
sold
units.
some crazy amount. I don't know.
And then the sequels for 3DS sold, I think, like approximately like 2, 3, 4 million or something like that.
Yeah, maybe not even that.
But
they also had something like a damn karaoke game, Sing. You know who that's made by?
Wasn't that Ubisoft or who was that?
No,
made by?
well, I don't know who's being published by, but it's being developed by the creators who made DJ Hero. They're putting the guys who made DJ Hero on this karaoke game. It's like it's just bad. And I mean,
yeah. So 2 months after Nintendogs Plus Cats had launched, it sold 1.71 million units versus the original games had sold. Go ahead and keep talking. I'll find the figure.
All right. But yeah, they just showed off Just Dance 4. They had the same demo as.
Okay, it sold 22.27 million. So that's how vast the difference is for that franchise in about 6 years.
Yeah.
It went from 22.27 to 1.71.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any question that the casual audience is gone. Not there anymore. So yeah. I mean, obviously 1.71 million is obviously profitable, but that's definitely, I mean, I'm sorry, but if you don't think that iOS and Facebook and all that crap are eating into the casual market, you're delusional.
Yeah, you're crazy.
But anyway, so rest of the show.
They showed off Lego City Undercover, which, in my opinion, that was surprising to me. I thought it looked better than expected, but it's going to be a Lego title, so it's obviously geared towards kids. It's not going to have much depth.
Is there anything else worth talking about at the? Oh wait, 3DS. Let's speed up to 3DS. There's some decent stuff at the 3DS.
I think we should talk about how they ended that show though.
What, Wii U?
The actual conference. Yeah, they ended off showing. We expected probably a big announcement. Maybe the Retros title, maybe a new Metroid, maybe something. They end the conference with Nintendo Land.
Yeah.
Which is basically a mini-game compilation. And if that's not a pack-in title, I'll be pissed. If that's not packed in with the system, I think
it's not going to be packed in.
It's crazy. It's a mini-game collection
you like those,
end with. Not when it's their big showcase. I mean, I think they also had like a WarioWare game that they didn't show off, but like I like the WarioWare games because they're quirky and crazy, but something like Nintendo Land where it's your big announcement and that you're trying to show off, it's dumb.
So as for 3DS, I thought the 3DS show was fine.
Yeah.
No new announcements.
They
demoed off Super Paper Mario or whatever
it's Paper Mario Sticker Star?
Yes, right? What a terrible name. But,
I think it looks cool. I think that game looks really fun.
I mean, I'm not a fan of the Paper Mario games, but it does look good.
I'm a fan of them, so I'm pretty excited for that.
But still a terrible name. I think even you would have to confess that's a pretty bad name.
Yeah.
It just sounds kind of cheap. It sounds like one of those like little Disney games that they sell at the Disney store where you can like place like stickers and draw and stuff like that.
But the sticker mechanic is cool.
It is kind of cool. It is. I saw they demoed it and it looks kind of neat. I don't think it's amazing, but it's unusual.
It's different for that Paper Mario franchise, for sure.
What else was there? There was.
I thought Luigi's Mansion 2 looks
pretty
cool.
Good.
Epic Mickey. Power of Illusion.
Oh, Power of Illusion. I was excited about this. They come out, Warren Spector, and I think it was Peter Ong, who's from Dream Rift.
Mm-hmm.
And Dream Rift,
the makers
for those who are uninformed, let's see, they did Henry Hatsworth while they were at EA. Then EA didn't sell well, so they had to split off and become their own developer. Then they founded Dream Rift, and that's when they made Monster Tale.
I have both those games, and both of them are really good. So
Henry Hatsworth is probably my favorite DS game, I would say.
It's really good.
Monster Tale.
it's not up. It's not up there. Like for me, like it's one of my favorites, but it's not really.
I thought in terms of 2D platformers and stuff, it was definitely
It's
the best.
definitely really cool and unique. So.
But
I mean, I'm excited for Power Evolution because they've got
also
a good
I love
pedigree.
transforming into that giant mech. That's so great.
Oh yeah,
That's
really
great.
cool.
He like does the thing with the T and the British flag and oh.
I mean, it combined
That's
one of my
so good.
it combined two of my favorite genres, the platforming and the puzzle aspect. So it really was made for me. Like that game was fantastic. And they're taking. They said they've been for Power Evolution. They were influenced by Castle
World Evolution and Castle
World
Evolution, which are Sega AM7's excellent Genesis platformers based off of the Mickey franchise.
Yep.
Excellent titles. I mean, Naveed got angry at me because I said that they were, after Sonic, they were the best platformers of that generation. He got a little bit butthurt about it and cried. But anyways,
I like Mario more than Sonic.
yeah, well, and as we went over, you're wrong. But anyways,
Agree with that. So
wrong. And the next one.
that's subjective though. So.
Oh, bullcrap!
No. Like my opinion is subjective.
Oh.
So I agree with you. Level design.
I will play you a game of poker to force you to change that opinion. I will bet you that opinion.
I don't think that can change my opinion of how.
If you give me your word that you're going to change it, then you have to change it.
That's not something I can bet on.
Yeah, I will accept that as currency.
I don't like that form of currency.
So anyways, then there was
they showed off Castlevania first, which is
Castlevania. I don't know.
It is a Metroidvania game.
Excuse me if I sound racist, but Spain. I'm so tired of this crap that Western developers are doing, where they
it's developed by Mercury Steam or something.
Japanese developers are sending their games into Europe and North America to send their crap over here to be developed to appeal to Western audiences. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it.
I think it looks okay.
You know, I have no qualms admitting that I prefer, generally speaking, at least Japanese games of old. Not so much today.
No,
but
I do too.
And I think there's some excellent European developers. I think there's some great Japanese developers American developers that rival the Japanese. I would say Double Fine's kind of up there for me as a high-quality American studio that is amongst the Japanese studios in terms of quality. I would say pretty much anything Michael Ansel works on at Ubisoft is usually up there. But yeah.
Yep.
It was versus the Lords of Shadow console games. It was more traditionalist. So
yeah,
it's
a Metroidvania style, and it's got
2.5D, so it does have 2D gameplay.
Yes.
Versus the 3D Lords of Shadow type gameplay.
Graphically, I don't like the direction they took with it, but
it's a little bit odd. But
it looks all right.
What else? There was
they showed Kingdom Hearts and Scribblenauts Unlimited. I mean, Scribblenauts looks pretty cool. I was put off by the first one, but I just watched a video of Scribblenauts Unlimited before we started this, and I think the way you can create different things is really, really amazing. So
I got into an argument with Jeremiah Slacksaw one time on
really?
On IRC, yeah.
Oh dang, that's pretty neat. I like him. He's a I guess he
was
seems like a cool guy.
He was very pro digital distribution, and I was very anti digital distribution. And of course, I won.
He is making that game though, that for Xbox Live. What's it called?
Faction or something, or I don't know.
It's like Reverse. I forget. I don't remember.
Who cares? It's a third-person shooter with
it's
two
an
different
interesting
teams,
concept,
and there's like you have land that people
hybrid.
fight for. Hybrid. There we go. Yeah, and it's kind of neat, but yeah, that's really old news. Is that even out yet? That's been in development for so long.
That's like part of Microsoft's like Summer of Arcade or something.
So this year?
It should be this year, I'm guessing. Yep.
Wow, that was announced in like 2009 or something ridiculous like that.
I mean, I hope for his sake it sells, because they work on some good stuff. Fifth Cell does, so.
Yeah, but you know, I don't think it is going to sell that well, though. I mean, he's kind of backed himself into a corner, because now Microsoft is going to get exclusivity for it for quite a while, And we've seen this happen time and time again, where developers kind of do the whole, summer thing with Xbox Live Arcade, and the sales figures are a little bit underwhelming and have been
I
for the
mean,
past couple of years.
unless you're something like Trials or Minecraft.
And Minecraft, to be fair, is only successful because of the success it's had on PC.
That's yeah, true.
And,
So
I mean, we saw with Super Meat Boy where it was part of that program, and then it was like heavily promoted, still didn't do well, and then the PC version like just demolished it in sales.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, they showed off, and finally, basically at that 3DS show, they showed off New Super Mario Bros. 2, which is, once again, we talked about that already.
Oh, hey, New Super Mario Bros. U portable.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. it's all about getting coins in that one in New Super Mario.
Hey, I didn't know that Nintendo
No.
was going to practice the cross-play Sony program. I mean, I get to play it on the Wii U and the 3DS.
Oh my god! I need that video. That what's it from? Oh my god!
Dude.
Ghouls?
You should put my excellent next gen photo from Project P100 first podcast.
You mean the
Next gen.
Oh yeah. I'll put that up there when I get
when
this
we're
stuff
talking about it or
done.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So overall, Nintendo show, I would say.
I'm not gonna include the 3DS showcase as part. This is my grade overall for their conference, which I thought they handled it very poorly. I didn't think it was as bad as Microsoft as far as content goes. I'll give them a C-, so a little bit lower than you. And the only silver lining to all...
Wow, see, this proves I'm unbiased. Anyway, sorry.
The only silver lining to all of this is that everything Nintendo showed off this year, or at this E3, is coming out this year. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Their lineup for Wii U looks good at launch. Whether they can sustain that or not is in question. But yeah, they handled the show poorly.
So overall, highlights, I guess we'll wrap up this podcast, and our listeners will be very thankful for that because we've been going on for like 2 hours. But
yep.
Highlights for you?
For me, I really enjoyed the demo for Project P100 that I saw from, if nobody's seen it, it's from GameSpot. They had like a 15-minute demo. That game just looks really cool. It seems to use the controller in a unique way. I mean, Platinum Games, they haven't put out anything bad. Everything they put out is pretty much gold. Vanquish, Bayonetta, everything. I really thought Rayman looked amazing. Rayman for the Wii U Legends. And I also thought Watch Dogs looked really cool. That was definitely a big surprise. Let's see, what else? Far Cry 3. Obviously, that demo was sweet.
Yeah.
Trying to think of other stuff. 3DS. I liked a lot of the stuff they showed at the showcase, but we just talked about that, so don't really want to go into that. And I guess one of the more surprising things was Zombie U. I personally thought it was going to be like Red Steel, but it seems to be getting a lot of good press. I mean, I like the concept behind it. It could be surprising. I don't have my hopes up because
I'll start on the Nintendo side of things for my highlights, I guess.
Okay.
And actually, there is one thing I want to talk about that kind of happened during E3, so I view it as relevant to E3, but not really didn't happen at the E3. I want to talk about actually Wreck-It Ralph a little bit.
Oh yeah.
It debuted. The trailer debuted during E3. I think that was probably intentional by Disney. Good move.
Yeah. Reveal it now.
Yeah, they revealed it in the theaters today.
Yep.
And I think that was a really solid play by them.
That movie looks amazing.
It looks great. It's got Jack McBrayer and help me out, John C. Reilly doing voices, which doesn't really matter. I never really care about famous voice actors in my animated movies. But what's special about the game is whatever. What's special about the movie is it's not about a specific game. It's about the concept of video games. the lead character is an arcade game character who's tired
Wreck-It
of
Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph, which is basically sort of like a Donkey Kong role where he goes around ruining buildings and then
Or something like Rampage.
Yeah, sort of more like a mix of Donkey Kong and Rampage, and basically he's tired of being a bad guy, so he's in this support group for video game bad guys, and what's special isn't just that it's about video games, but that they actually, Disney went all out, paid licensing, they got some big time character cameos.
How much do you think they paid for that?
A lot.
Yeah,
I don't know how much, but I'm thankful that they did it. We're talking Dr. Eggman, or if you're cool, Dr. Robotnik.
They have Bowser,
M. Bison, or he was M. Bison in America, and then he was Balrog in Japan. Chun-Li.
Why do they have Chun-Li?
Chun-Li wasn't in the.
Oh yeah, she wasn't in the bad
background.
Guy. I didn't. Why was Zangief in there?
Because he's a bad guy.
Is he really?
He's part of Shadaloo. Yeah, he's part of Shadaloo.
Okay.
He's like the main henchman.
I'm not up on my Street Fighter.
He's the third main. He's like the third henchman to M. Bison after Sagat. And
I'm not up on my Street Fighter lore.
Because you can't play fighting games because you suck at them. Anyway,
you're right, except for Mortal Kombat 9.
Which isn't. Oh, don't get me started.
Liu Kang.
And then there was actually who was from Mortal Kombat in there? There was a Mortal Kombat character in the bad guy group. And then,
I don't know. Shao Kahn. I don't remember.
Then there was Cyril from freaking in the first House of the Dead, the zombie with the two axes, which I didn't even realize when I first watched.
They've got some really obscure people.
I was shocked. I was shocked because I was just like, oh, that's some generic zombie. But
you show me that picture of the dude from Cyborg Justice.
Yeah, this dude from Cyborg Justice on Sega Genesis, that's like a Nova Trade game. Nova Trade hasn't even been around since when did Nova Trade go out of business? I don't even know.
That game kind of sucks too. I mean, it's not even a good game that they're taking it from. So
it's I don't know, but it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see what they're doing.
I really hope that movie is successful.
I hope so too. I really hope.
It doesn't have like the Pixar name behind it, but it looks amazing.
I'm seeing it in theaters, and I never go to the movies.
It comes out in November, by the way, for anyone wondering.
Yeah, it looks excellent. Look up the trailer. Maybe Naveed can put a link to the trailer on the YouTube.
I'll probably have it running.
That's a good way to go. And so then, in terms of my highlights of E3. I'm going to start off with just Nintendo. I'm going to say Rayman Legends looks pretty good. I think it's going to be a timed exclusive, so I can be excited for it as a primarily PC gamer who does not intend on purchasing a Wii U. Project P100 looks pretty cool. I've never played a bad Platinum game. I've never played a bad Clover game, which is basically Platinum. Xenoclash 2 for PC, kind of a surprise announcement by Ace Team. Didn't anticipate that at all this E3. We knew about that it was coming, but the trailer kind of debuted. Far Cry 3 knew about it obviously, but the trailers to E3 were excellent. Great presentation. Pikmin 3 looks cool. Scribblenauts was announced for PC, which I believe is the first time that's ever happened for that franchise, which really excites me. That'll be my introduction to the franchise.
It's a very cool franchise, even though the first one did.
And also the PC version will probably be, I would imagine, the definitive version, at least if they have the high res.
It's got online aspects, right?
It's got also the modding. I would imagine the modding for it is probably going to be pretty healthy.
Oh yeah. I can see some very odd stuff happening to the modding when because they don't allow you to get vulgar.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some mods. And also just being able to type crap on the real keyboard is going to be kind of nice versus a touchscreen or a tiny touchscreen on the 3DS. And then finally, I guess, not finally for the Nintendo show, Power of Illusion and Luigi's Mansion 2. Power of Illusion, just because they admitted and acknowledged the main influence of the game is going to be the classic Sega AM7 titles, which if you haven't played, you aren't a real gamer.
People don't do that often.
No, they don't.
On stage, especially on stage.
And actually, what was interesting about that was with Peter Ong coming out and say that. I think his name is Peter Ong. I'm not entirely certain. Don't hold it to me.
Sorry if we don't.
Yeah, sorry if I disrespected you, Peter Ong, or whatever your real name is. But you're a great game designer. But anyways, or producer, or whatever position you hold. Anyways, No, but yeah, he said it affected pretty much every single game he's designed up until this point. So Monster Tale, Henry Hatsworth, great games.
Oh, he said he'd taken inspiration for every game. I mean,
Yeah, for every game he's been involved with.
he obviously likes that game a
So
lot.
I mean, also if you like Monster Tale or Henry Hatsworth, go ahead and check out those Mickey Mouse titles. But and also those weren't the only games AM7 made based off of Disney franchises. They also made some Donald Duck ones. But then there was Luigi's Mansion 2, which looked fairly good, but we've seen footage before, nothing too special. I would say
Yeah.
my number one from the show, though, in terms of like footage I saw and got excited about, was either Far Cry 3 or, and I kind of want to talk to you about this one because I don't think you mentioned it, All Stars Racing.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that because it wasn't part of our the video you showed me. Damn, that game looks
It looks great. I had good expectations. The video we saw at E3, even though it was off screen.
Jesus Christ, that guy sucks.
Oh, whoa, terrible at it. The dude from I think Screw Attack, terrible.
Are you serious? There was Screw Attack playing?
I don't know, but the footage we saw was off the hook, and I never use that phrase. I had good expectations.
The
of
stage
game,
design is awesome.
Yeah, the stage design, the variety of gameplay, everything. The graphics are really good. The design of everything seems great. The gameplay seems good.
And I was a little skeptical. I mean,
Naveed was a little bit skeptical.
Spencer knows that.
I argued with him a couple times about Sumo developing it and why that was a good thing and all this.
Because I love Blur and they've got some Blur.
Yeah, and I was
working on it now.
Yeah, and because Bazaar closed down and Sumo's in the UK. But no, it was a game that I had didn't have high expectations for it, but expected for it to be good, and just the short video that they released really raised my expectations. We're not only talking about a game where in Sonic Racing Transformed, where basically you go through and there's 3 different types of vehicles in the same race. The vehicle literally transforms. You go from water, land, and air throughout one race.
And that may sound like Mario Kart to you guys, but it's like truly you're flying.
It's truly you're flying.
And you're actually
it's also
on
truly
a boat.
you're in a boat. Yes,
yeah, and
it's not like some little weak. And the handling actually changes.
And they have stages. They have stages like based around these actual like elements. Like you said, there's going to be like stages that's just flying or just boats.
Yeah, I believe that's. I think that. Well, I don't know if that's entirely true, but I believe that's the case.
Okay.
That was the rumor, but even if not, what happened in this? They showed the Death Adder's track, which Death Adder is from Golden Axe. So this is the Golden Axe track, and Gilius Thunderhead, the dwarf from Golden Axe, is in the game. And first of all, the graphics were gorgeous, but the tracks also transform. At least this track did. It starts out, you start out on land, then it goes from lava, aka boat, and then goes to air. And by the end of the race, it's lava, air, lava. Because what happens is the lava eats away at the land-based portion of the track by the end of the race, and so you're no longer able to drive on land. And not only that, but each vehicle handles differently. And this isn't like weak airplane, like you don't go like you can't just like go left and right. You can go up and down. So it's like more like a Crimson Skies type thing. And the main influence we're hearing, from what I've heard, is the main influence for the boat sections is Hydro Thunder, great place to take influence. Main influence we're hearing for the airplane sections is probably something along the lines of Crimson Skies, also a great influence.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was High Road to Revenge or something on Xbox that they're taking influence from, not the first one on PC.
Uh-huh.
And then for the racing, it's moving towards a more Outrun 2 style of handling, which is also a great thing. So, yeah, that was probably the game where I had good expectations. The funny thing is I actually had good expectations about both Far Cry 3 and All Stars Racing, and walking away from the show, they're the ones that impressed me the most.
Yeah. I should mention, I didn't mention this as some of my favorite games, but I thought The Last of Us looked awesome. That was a huge game.
I thought Last of Us looked good, and I thought Beyond looked good, but they're games that I never intend to purchase.
I understand that.
So even though I'm a big Ellen Page fanboy, it's like, but with Wii U, it's like I think there's a chance that Wii U will either be emulated on PC within a couple of years after it comes out, like Dolphin happened with Wii, or Wii U, I'll get one used eventually or something like that. I intend to eventually get around to playing those games. It'll probably take me years, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't intend to play Beyond or, a disappointment of the show for me. Really unlikely, but was praying and hoping for. I'm not even religious, but I was praying and hoping for a Virtua Fighter 5 PC port, which was rumored in some corners of the internet.
The disappointment for me, was probably
The whole thing.
I thought Retro was gonna show their thing.
Yeah, that's true. Retro
That
was a pretty solid rumor too.
And that disappointed me that they didn't have any. They had like bunch of like employee listings online like way before the show. They were getting people from Naughty Dog and like artists from Naughty Dog and stuff like that. So
And they also were taking people, I think, from my goodness.
they got guys from everywhere. I mean,
Yeah, they took people out of whoever works on Darksiders, whatever team that is, I forget.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Vigil.
Yes.
Vigil Games.
Vigil Games. And but yeah, as far as like you said your like favorite game of the show. Surprisingly enough, I'd probably say Project P100. It came out of nowhere.
I don't think that's a bad choice.
Yeah, I mean it looks really cool. I mean
it was really the only out of all of the games announced. I mean, we kind of knew. I'm pretty sure we knew about Rayman Legends before the show.
Yeah, that got leaked. So
So in terms of original announcements, the only thing that we didn't know about beforehand that was debuted literally at the show was Project P100. Everything else we knew about pretty much, I think.
Watch Dogs was also new. So
Watch Dogs. Yeah.
Even stuff like we hadn't even seen Pikmin 3, but that was still we knew about that from
The
like
one thing I'll say about the
2002.
show is comparatively for what it was actually a pretty solid E3 for PC, which I think is highly unusual.
Yeah, I mean, they did show off some pretty good games. I mean, you just showed me that third where they showed off like Dark Souls in 1080p. So
Yeah, they showed off Dark Souls. They showed off Square Enix showed off some free-to-play browser game for PC that actually looks decent, even if it is casual as crap.
Yeah.
Game World or something like that, where you can like create your own games and stuff. It actually looked decent. So that was surprising.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess that's that. That's the first episode, the first podcast of Real Buttons, I guess.
Okay.
Pretty rough around the edges. We'll try to clean it up in the future, folks.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah. As much as possible.
And hopefully we do more. I mean.
Oh yeah. If you want to do this like once a month, then
I had fun.
I had fun.
Yep.
So yeah.
Usually
there's not this much content to usually talk about though.
Yeah, this was pretty big. I might have to split this up into a couple parts. So.
Yeah, I would imagine you're going to have to.
But yeah, that was basically our E3 wrap up.
Yeah, it's that. You want to call it good?
All right.
Peace, man.
All right. Talk to you later.
I think you've been zombified. Looking good, Reggie. Looking very good.
I like French food.
But before things get out of hand, let me leave you with this last video highlighting Ubisoft's lineup for the Wii U.
I'm hungry now.
You scare me, Reggie.
I'm
You
coming
scare me.
to eat you.